I'm delighted to cross to Rosarito, Mexico, where we're joined by our friend Thomas Markle, the father of the Duchess of Sussex.
You think you know Meghan Markle's story? Think again. Because her own father, Thomas Markle, is now tearing down the curtain with a revelation that changes everything, a shocking truth that threatens to unravel the very fabric of the royal narrative we've been fed for years. This isn't just family drama, it's a bombshell that explodes the carefully constructed image of the Duchess of Sussex, and it's been hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like Thomas to pull the trigger. And when he speaks, the world listens, because this isn't just a father-daughter dispute, it's a full-frontal assault on the palace's credibility, a credibility built on dates and documents that are supposed to be as solid as the crown jewels. But what if those documents are as malleable as clay? What if the birth year we've all accepted, 1981, is nothing but a convenient fiction, a lie perpetuated to fit a narrative that benefits both Hollywood and the monarchy? Thomas Markle isn't just hinting at it anymore, he's confirming the darkest suspicions with a clarity that can't be ignored, pointing to evidence that has been gathering dust in archives and yearbooks, evidence that paints a picture of a woman 6 years older than she claims, a woman whose entire life story might need to be rewritten from the ground up. Let's go back to where it all began, to that fateful issue of 17 magazine from March 1997, a publication aimed at teenagers but now at the center of a royal firestorm. On page 90, buried among ads for acne cream and pop star posters, there's a single line that lists Meghan Markle as 21 years old. At first glance, it seems innocuous, a typo or a mistake, but when you do the math, the numbers don't lie. If Meghan was born in 1981, as the palace insists, she would have been 15 years old in 1997, not 21. That's a 6-year gap, a chasm so wide it can't be brushed off as a simple error. This isn't some digital screenshot that can be doctored, this is ink on paper, a physical artifact from a time before social media, a time when magazines were the gospel for millions of teens. And it was discovered by online sleuths, those dedicated investigators who spend hours poring over old archives, not for fame but for the thrill of uncovering the truth. Their discovery is like finding a fingerprint at a crime scene. It places Meghan in a different timeline altogether, one where she wasn't a fresh-faced teen but a young woman in her 20s, already navigating the complexities of adulthood. Thomas Markle has seized on this, not as a gotcha moment but as proof that the story we've been told is flawed at its core. He's asking the questions that the palace doesn't want to answer. Why would a magazine print such a specific age if it weren't true? And why has Meghan never addressed this discrepancy, instead allowing the 1981 narrative to stand unchallenged? But the magazine is just the tip of the iceberg. Thomas Markle's revelations go deeper, tapping into his personal knowledge of his daughter's life. He hasn't held back, speaking with the raw emotion of a man who feels betrayed, not just by his daughter but by the system that has embraced her. His words aren't the ramblings of a bitter old man, they're the testimony of someone who was there from the beginning, who remembers the dates, the birthdays, the milestones. He's hinted that the Meghan he raised isn't the Meghan presented to the world, that her timeline has been airbrushed and curated for public consumption. When he says the math doesn't add up, it's not just about age, it's about the entire trajectory of her life. For instance, if Meghan was actually born in 1976, as the magazine suggests, then her college years at Northwestern University take on a different hue. Officially, she graduated in 2003 at the age of 22, but if she was born in 1976, she would have been 27, a significant difference that changes how we view her academic journey. And then there are the alumni photos, those snapshots from university life that tell a story words can't. In one particular photo from a salsa club, Meghan is smiling in the back row, surrounded by classmates who are now in their mid-50s. If they were born in the early 1970s, it places Meghan's age closer to theirs, suggesting she might have been older than her official age indicates. Were they just older students returning to school? Possibly, but when you combine this with the magazine evidence, it starts to look less like a coincidence and more like a pattern. Thomas Markle's comments give weight to these suspicions, turning them from internet gossip into legitimate questions that demand answers. Now, let's talk about Hollywood, because this age mystery didn't start with the royals, it has its roots in Tinseltown, where shaving years off your age is as common as Botox and Pilates. In Hollywood, age is currency, and for actresses, being over 30 can mean the difference between leading roles and retirement home commercials. A casting agent once confessed bluntly, if an actress is over 30, you lose half the scripts overnight. Trim a few years, and you double your chances. For Meghan, trimming 6 years wouldn't just be cosmetic, it would be a career-saving move. Imagine her trying to break into the industry in the early 2000s. If she was in her late 20s or early 30s, she'd be competing for maternal roles or character parts, but if she could pass for early 20s, she'd be in the running for ingenue roles, the young love interests, the fresh faces that dominate primetime TV. That incentive is massive, and it explains why so many actresses engage in age manipulation. But for Meghan, it didn't stop in Hollywood, it followed her right into the royal spotlight. When she married Prince Harry in 2018, the media couldn't stop stressing her age, 36 years old, a glowing modern bride who had lived a full life before royalty. But if she was actually 42, that fairy tale framing collapses instantly. A 42-year-old bride isn't just older, she's at a different life stage, with experiences and baggage that don't fit the pristine narrative the palace wanted to sell. The monarchy thrives on symbolism, and a young, vibrant bride fits perfectly into the story of renewal and modernity. An older bride might bring unwanted questions about past relationships, biological clocks, and why she waited so long to marry. The palace's PR machine is adept at controlling the narrative, and altering Meghan's age would be a key part of that control. But why does this matter beyond gossip? Because the monarchy is built on credibility. Every tiny detail, from birth certificates to marriage records, is supposed to be unshakable, etched in stone for posterity. When those details are called into question, it doesn't just damage an individual, it cracks the foundation of the institution itself. Remember Archie's birth certificate? It was quietly amended weeks after filing, with Meghan's given name, Rachel Meghan, mysteriously erased without a public explanation. If something as official as a royal birth certificate can be rewritten, what's stopping the same thing from happening to Meghan's age? This isn't just about Meghan, it's about the palace's willingness to alter history to suit its needs. Thomas Markle's revelations are so dangerous because they expose this vulnerability. He's not just questioning his daughter, he's pulling the curtain back on the entire system, showing that the documents we trust might be as unreliable as a celebrity autobiography. And in an age where trust in institutions is already eroding, this kind of scandal can quickly become a full-blown crisis. People start to wonder, if they lied about this, what else have they lied about? Are other royal biographies equally fabricated? Is the history we're taught just a sanitized version designed to protect the brand? Let's dive deeper into the implications. If Meghan was born in 1976, her entire timeline shifts. She wouldn't have been a 20-something trying to make it in Hollywood, she would have been closer to 30, with a different set of life experiences. Her role on Suits, which started in 2011, would have been taken on by a 35-year-old woman, not a 30-year-old. That might not seem like a big difference, but in Hollywood years, it's a lifetime. More importantly, her relationship with Prince Harry began in 2016, when she was officially 35, but if she was 40, it changes the dynamics entirely. Harry was 32 at the time, and an age gap of 8 years is far more significant than 3, potentially affecting public perception and even family dynamics within the royals. The palace has always been sensitive to age differences. Remember the scrutiny over Camilla and Charles, and they might have wanted to minimize this aspect. But beyond the personal, there's the question of Meghan's advocacy work. She has been a vocal advocate for women's rights and gender equality, often speaking about her experiences as a woman in her 30s. If she was actually in her 40s, it doesn't invalidate her work, but it does raise questions about authenticity. In a world where authenticity is currency, any hint of fabrication can be damaging. Thomas Markle's role in this cannot be overstated. He has become the unlikely whistleblower, a man with nothing to lose, who is determined to set the record straight. His interviews are filled with pain and frustration, but also with a desire for truth. He's not doing this for money or fame, he's doing it because he believes the world deserves to know who his daughter really is. And every time he speaks, the palace braces for impact, because his words have the ring of truth that press releases lack. He's the insider who can verify the timeline, who remembers the birthdays, the school years, the family events that don't align with the official story. When he says that Meghan's age has been altered, it carries weight because he was there. And the fact that his claims are supported by external evidence like the magazine and photos makes them even more compelling. The palace's silence on the matter is deafening. They haven't sued for defamation or issued a detailed rebuttal, which only fuels the speculation. In the court of public opinion, silence is often seen as admission. So, where does this leave us? With a mystery that is far from solved, but with evidence that points to a cover-up of monumental proportions. The shocking truth that Thomas Markle reveals isn't just about a number, it's about the lies we're told to maintain a fairy tale, and the lengths institutions will go to protect their image. It's a story that resonates because it taps into our deepest suspicions about power and privilege. We want to believe that the royals are different, that they operate with integrity, but stories like this remind us that they are human, with all the flaws and deceptions that entails. The age discrepancy might seem like a small thing, but it's a crack in the palace wall, and as history shows, cracks can widen until the entire structure collapses. So the next time you read a royal biography or watch a glowing profile, remember Thomas Markle's words, and ask yourself, what's real, and what's been airbrushed for your consumption? The truth is out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for those brave enough to look.